Hello, welcome to Julie's Unknown podcast. And I am excited to talk to you today because we are going to start with my story. So, a couple of weeks ago, I had asked on my Instagram, what aspects do you guys want to hear on this podcast? And I threw in a lot of different topics. And I did get an overwhelming amount of response, which is amazing because that makes me super happy that you guys are interested and want to hear this podcast. And one of the topics was to talk about my story. And I know those who have been following me on Instagram for a really long time, you've seen my journey, or maybe sometimes you've seen parts of it. Then there's some of you that maybe came in halfway or came in now where I am at. And there's a lot of layers and stories within stories in my story. And so what I'm planning on doing is having this in segments. So there's going to be multiple episodes, different topics. So today's topic is going to be, why did I become a coach and how did that all unfold? And the reason why I'm starting there is because that's actually where my journey in inner work and self-discovery really truly started. And then there'll obviously be other stories that intertwine in times before this period. And I will be sharing other stories, part of my journey. When I was doing the inner work in Tofino, like the deep dives that I've done there, the time where I was without a home for 4 months, and what did that teach me? There are other stories around money and relationships, and I mean, there's just so many stories within stories. So gonna get started. And I just wanted to say thank you for listening. If you haven't subscribed to this podcast, I would love if you would subscribe to it and leave a review if you feel called to it. That would be truly amazing. And yeah, so let's get started. Let's just dive right into it. Why did I become a coach? When did that all stem from? So back in 2016 was a time where a huge shift in my life happened. And basically, I thought my life was going in one direction. And then all of a sudden, things ended and the future was blank. Now, just a little side note, prior to where I'm at today, I really used to be, and it's not that I am not this anymore. I am still a little bit this, but not to the extent I used to be. I used to be a planner, like huge planner for the future, like 5-year goal, like what am I doing? Where am I going? Have it all listed out, try to control everything. And at that time, not having a plan, not having a focus of where I'm going would throw me off and would make me really uncomfortable because I felt uncomfortable in the unknown. And it was very hard for me to let go of control. Having done a lot of inner work around control and embracing the present and tapping into the unknown has led me to where I'm at today. And also why my business is called Juliesunknown. Ironically, that's why I thought of it, because I was just like, that has been my journey for the past 7 years. I think, 7 years. Holy shit, 7 years of truly letting go of control and truly embracing and working with the universe and letting things unfold the way they are meant to. And so having been that person then, and I was with someone at the time, and I envisioned my life with them. I envisioned my life getting married, having kids, the whole 9 yards. And it was something that at that time we did discuss. It was not that it was not discussed. It was something we discussed. But then what ended up happening is we broke up. And I didn't see it coming at that time. These signs were there. It's not that the signs were not there. I think at that time, I just chose to not see the signs and lied to myself that everything was okay, even though they were not. And I also did not have the knowledge I have now but that was who I was then, and there was nothing wrong with that. And it was exactly what I was meant to go through. And so that breakup led to my life shifting because I did not see it coming. I had this envision of a future with someone, and that vision was no longer there. It was gone. And I remember thinking to myself, now what? Now what? And at that time also, I was working in an office. I had an office job. I had gone to university for business. And then right after I graduated, well, I did a little mini trip, but when I got back from my trip, I decided to start working in an office because that's what I thought I wanted to do. That's what I thought I would like. And so the first office job I had wasn't fun, but learned a lot. Wasn't a fan. But then the second office job I got, I really enjoyed it more, the environment. I enjoyed the people that were there. The job itself was challenging and I was learning a lot, but it was not my dream job, so to speak. And so I remember after the breakup, I moved back home to my parents. And also I remember sending out a message to my friends and being like, hey, I'm going to go MIA for the next few weeks just to process everything that happened because I needed time to process. Again, like I said, I wasn't expecting it. I didn't see it coming. It threw me for a loop and I needed to process and grieve and just go through the emotions. And also kind of moving back home. I didn't end up moving back to my old room. I took my sister's room. So that was a shift in itself because she moved into my room and like nothing wrong with that. But it was just like a lot of changes and going back to something familiar, but not. And so I remember lying in my room and thinking I needed somebody to talk to. I needed somebody to talk to that was not in my life, that did not know me as well, or know my friends or know my ex-partner, somebody to just hear me out. And there was this coach that I followed at the time. I had met her years back through a Lululemon event because I used to work for the Lululemon store in Montreal and met her there. And when she told me she was a coach, I was like, oh, what is that? I'd never heard of a life coach. And she explained what it was. And I connected with that. I got it because I was a goal getter. I used to create goals and make them happen. And that it was at that time what she was helping people do is create those goals and those dreams and go and make them happen. And so I was following her for some time. And then I went to Wanderlust. Where was I? So I reached out to her. After following her on Instagram for quite some time. And I said, can I just book one session with you? And we booked the session. I don't remember what happened in that session, but she held space for me. She gave me guidance as to, how to navigate this time and what to do next. I remember she told me, she's like, write a list of the things you love to do, the very simple things. It doesn't need to be anything big. Do you love lighting candles? Or, she used the example that she loves to put on red lipstick. So I took that. I love, painting my nails. And I started doing those small little things. And so as I was processing this time, I think there was an email I received and it was someone doing a coaching series of just having coaches on. I think it was a Zoom call. I don't remember. And I think I participated, I just went in and listened to a few. And then I was like, I'm like, coach, I'm like, that sounds cool. I'm like, that would be something interesting. And so I booked in another session with the same coach. And I was just like, I have this idea. I'm like, maybe I want to be a coach. And so she was all excited because, she was just like, oh my God. So she guided me through a vision prompt. So it was like a meditation and it was envisioning your life. And I remember just what came out was that I'm creating my own schedule. I'm my own boss. I am living in the mountains and by the ocean. I'm practicing yoga when I want. I'm keeping fit, like I'm surfing. And all this stuff came out. And I remember telling her everything that came out, and I was so lit up by it. And she told me that it is all possible. And I think that was the confirmation and permission I needed to hear at that time, because I didn't think that having that life would be possible then. All I knew was the 9 to 5. All I knew was working in an office or working in some sort of career, working for somebody else. Like, all I knew was that you buy a house and, you have a mortgage. I didn't know what else was possible. And so when I envisioned this in a meditation, and to just have her say, yes, you can have that, which also is now what I'm living. Funny enough, it came true, all of it. I just needed that permission. And at that time, she had a coaching program coming up in January. And so I said, yes, I'm going in. I needed time to think about it, but I decided I was going to jump in. And I was going to see what was going to happen, what was going to unfold. I didn't know what kind of investment I was going to get out of it. I didn't know what to expect. I was just like, you know what, like whether I get a client out of this program or not, it doesn't matter. I'm going in the element of surprise and seeing what comes out of it. And it was a year-long program. And this program was absolutely amazing on so many levels. I learned so much about myself in a way I never had before. And that was the beginning of the self-discovery, the inner work, the inner healing. It was when I started like reading self-discovery and self-help books. And I read quite a few of them, and I continue to read quite a few of them and listen to many audiobooks and podcasts. But that was where it all started. And that program did change my life. And that was the catalyst to what led me to where I'm at today. There has been a lot of trial and errors throughout the years of figuring out like which areas I might focus on and what kind of clients I want to focus on. Initially, I started out as a travel coach, so helping people book their trips. But then I realized that I actually enjoyed more the element of life coaching and diving deep versus like planning someone's trip. And so there was that idea. And then there was another idea at one point that I was time management coach, because I am good at time management and organizing, but it didn't feel like, it felt more logical versus like something to be excited about. And then eventually I went through my spiritual awakening, which led me to where I'm at today. And that is a story for another day. And that is where I started. And I remember at that time, I was even thinking like, there has to be something more to life than this, than a 9 to 5, than, just like having kids, getting married. There has to be more to it. Not that those things are bad or wrong. There's nothing wrong with them, but I wanted more. I wanted adventure. I wanted fun. I wanted mind-blowing, like amazing experiences. And for some reason, I had thought that was only reserved while I was in my 20s, while I was in university, where I was going on, 3-month trips to Europe and Australia. But when it came down to, becoming an adult and getting a job, like I thought that was when the fun ended. Like that was what I perceived of it. And I didn't want that. I didn't want the fun to end. I didn't want the adventure, or doing crazy stuff to stop. And it does not mean doing stupid things. It means just having fun and going with the flow with life and doing things that excite me, and like moments of bliss, and like these moments where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening, like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. And so my hair is a little, and so that is how that all started. And also another thing I do want to mention is that at that time, especially in my 20s, it was very much a kind of mindset that I had of, when this happens, things will get better. When this happens, things will get better. When I do this, things will get better. When I go on this trip, things will get better. When I move out, things will get better. When I get that job, things will get better. And the thing is, things didn't actually get better. I was always chasing the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And all this inner work I've done throughout the years, which has led me to, this is the type of work I do with my clients, is to no longer chase the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Is to really be anchored in the present moment. Obviously have goals and dreams and things I desire to do, but to not look at those things outside of me that is going to bring happiness, or that is going to bring everything to be okay, or that is going to make things better. It has brought me to a place of like, no, I'm the one who brings security. I'm the one who brings happiness to me. I'm the one who takes care of me first and loves me and falls in love with life. I'm the one who has that power, and I'm going to do it myself. And the things that are outside of me is a bonus. It's like the cherry on top. It's an added feature. And it's not, and those things are not like the things that are going to make me happy if I'm unhappy with myself. And so that is like how I started like shifting that. And it stemmed from that moment in time. It stemmed from that place where all of a sudden my life was a blank slate. All of a sudden, I didn't know what was like, where I was going, what I was doing. All of a sudden, the plan that I had in my head, the plan that made me feel safe, the plan that made me feel secure, the plan that made me feel comfortable was gone. And that's what I needed at that time. I needed that shift to happen. As shitty as it was to go through a breakup, breakups are shit. They suck. I needed that to happen because I wouldn't have been here had that not happened. I mean, I don't know where I would have been. I don't know what would have happened, but I do know that that was a strong catalyst for bringing me to where I'm at today, for having me shift my life, for having me see things differently. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that. And yeah, it's crazy. Crazy as to how life is, things happen and things unfold. So that is one part of my story. So I hope you enjoyed this part. I will end with, so I know I've been playing around with talking about my services and my offers. Sometimes I'm doing it in the middle. Now, like in this one, I'm doing it in the end. I think another time I did it in the beginning. So I'll do this at the end. If you feel called to continue listening and see what I have to offer, hang on in there. And yeah, and then if you're complete, you can like, share this podcast, appreciate it. Okay, so what do I have to offer? I do have, okay, so this is starting next week, which would be July 10th to the 15th, round 1. So it's a human design relationship program. So basically it's looking at your human design chart. It's a period over 3 months, 6 sessions. And we look at the charts of the people around you and what are they here to teach you. So this is if you want to dive deeper into your human design, if you actually want to start embodying it, this is a good place to start, because other people are signpost to showing us where to decondition and heal. And if you are interested in that, definitely reach out to me. I'm going to have all my contact information in the show notes. The other few things that I have going on, if you don't want to do the program for human design, but you just want a human design reading, I do have a few spots open for that as well. And then I also do offer tarot card readings and as well. So I got all these things going on my website. You can also go, there is some digital downloads. Some are, there's one that's free right now, and then there's a few low price paid ones. And this is where, if you are curious into the kind of work I do, and you want to dive deeper, but not make the bigger investment just yet, you can check out these digital downloads, and it will give you a feel of my work and what I do. So right now I got a intro to shadow work, which is free. And then I got an inner child healing and a money digital download. So money work and all this stuff. There's like some journal prompts. You got some guided meditation. Also me rambling off a little bit, like kind of like this in the podcast like style setting. They are audio on the most part, but I think the free one, the free intro to shadow work, includes a video, which is like linked to YouTube. So you can have access to that. And that is it. I am complete. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful day, evening, whenever you're listening to this, and I will speak to you soon.